ABC Kindred Teach presents the Hallo-Wiener, written by Pilkey. There once was a dog named Oscar who was half a dog tall and 1.5 dogs long. So he's not very tall, but he is very long. Because of his unusual, not like other dogs, shape and size, all the other dogs made fun of him. Wiener dog, they called him, and Oscar did not like it one bit. Oscar's mother was no help either. Every morning when the dogs walked off to obedience school, that's a place where dogs go to learn how to do what people want them to do, Oscar's mother stood in the front yard, waving and calling out, "Farewell, my little Vienna sausage." And that's what a Vienna sausage looks like. They're like little short hot dogs. And the other dogs laughed and laughed. Most of the time Oscar was upset by all this, but not today. Today was Halloween, and Oscar was thinking about other things. All day long at obedience school, Oscar daydreamed about Halloween night, trick-or-treats, and scary costumes. And it says up here on the board, today's lesson, sit, stay. I will not stiff my neighbor. I will not stiff my neighbor. I will not stiff my neighbor. So this dog must be sniffing one of the other dogs in the class. And the teacher's reading a book that says, dogs who hate fleas and the fleas who love them. So that's supposed to be kind of funny. When Oscar got home, he dashed, which means ran fast, upstairs to start working on his scary Halloween costume. I wonder what he's going to be. But when he got to his room, a surprise was waiting for him. Happy Halloween, my little sausage link, which looks a little bit like a wiener dog, said Oscar's mother. I've made you a costume to wear for trick-or-treats. When Oscar saw the costume, he nearly fainted. Fainted just means you kind of like pass out. You kind of fall down and go to sleep for a little while. And I wonder if Oscar fainted because he was excited or he was not happy. Let's see. It was a giant hot dog bun, complete with mustard, and guess who was supposed to fit in the middle? Yes, Oscar. And he looks really like, oh no, oh no, oh no. They already make fun of me for being a wiener dog, and now I'm going to dress up as a hot dog? Oscar did not want to hurt his mother's feelings, so he decided to wear the silly costume, and he's giving his mom a lick. That night, all the dogs on the block gathered to show off their costumes. Everyone was looking quite scary. That's supposed to be scary because it's a dog catcher, and dogs don't like dog catchers because they catch them and put them in the pound. Then Oscar showed up looking quite frank. And a frank is just another name for a hot dog. And look at, he's carrying his sack with his tail. When the dogs saw Oscar in his silly costume, they howled with laughter, which means they laughed really loud. Look at Oscar, they cried. He really is a wiener dog. Poor Oscar was so embarrassed. He felt bad that everyone laughed at him. Wiener dog, laughed the other dogs as they ran off to go trick-or-treating. Oscar tried to keep up with the dogs, but his silly costume kept slowing him down. So the other dogs were running ahead to the houses, and he could not move as fast because of his costume. Plus, his legs are kind of short. All night long, the other dogs hounded every treat, which means they tried to find every treat that was possible to find, they could get their paws on. So by the time Oscar got to each house, there were no treats left. So they were being kind of piggish, taking all the dog treats, and Oscar just didn't get anything. Soon trick-or-treating was over, and the dogs walked home past a spooky graveyard, or another name for a cemetery. Suddenly, a horrible hissing sound filled the air. Hiss! The dogs stopped dead in their tracks, which means they stopped very quickly. They almost like froze in place. Then, out of the graveyard rose a ghastly, or very scary, monster. Ooh, there's the monster right there. The dogs screamed for their lives. They dropped their treats and jumped into a nearby pond. What kind of monster could it be? Maybe it's not a real monster. Maybe it's somebody dressed up as a monster. Let's see. Where's Oscar? The monster moved closer. Please don't eat us, cried the dogs. The monster yowled and hissed. Boo, hoo, hoo, sobbed the dogs. The monster jumped up and down. Somebody save us, shrieked the dogs. And shriek just means said in a loud voice. Uh-oh. I bet Oscar must somehow save them because he's not with them. Just then somebody showed up. It was Oscar, because Oscar was so short he saw something that the other dogs had not seen. Let's see, Oscar is looking at, ooh, this looks like a cat. That's no monster, cried Oscar, and with a loud bark, Oscar waddled, moved like a duck moves, to the rescue because he has this costume on that makes it hard for him to walk. Oscar chomped or bit and tugged with all his might. I wonder if oh, look, you can kind of see two cats in there. See it? I wonder if they're going to fall in the water. Rap! And there, standing in the moonlight, were a couple of ornery cats. Cats that are mean and hard to get along with. Help! Cried the cats. We're being attacked by a giant frankfurter. And a frankfurter is just another name for a hot dog. And they ran off screaming through the graveyard. So he scared the cats away. Good for Oscar. The dogs in the pond had seen the whole thing, and now it was their turn to be embarrassed, feeling foolish or silly. We've been chased into a pond by a couple of cats, they moaned. But Oscar was a true friend. He leaped into the water and swam out to the dogs. And a true friend is a friend that doesn't say, well, I told you so, or say, I'm not going to help you because you were mean to me early. He said, I'm going to be your friend regardless of what you did to me. Oscar's silly costume made a wonderful life raft, and the dogs climbed up. All aboard, Oscar called, and he dog paddled back to shore. So they all hopped on Oscar and he paddled to shore. Boy, that's a lot of dogs and a lot of weight for poor old Oscar. And look, there's a couple of fish. When they got back to dry land, all the dogs shared their Halloween treats with Oscar. Oh, look, it's so nice that they're sharing with him now. They're giving him lots of treats. Because Oscar had been so brave, the dogs changed his nickname from Wiener Dog to Hero Sandwich. Because he's a hero and he was dressed as a sandwich, I think. And from that night on, nobody ever made fun of Oscar again. Well, that's nice. Happy Halloween!